What's up, Zach Oates here, author, entrepreneur, and customer relationship guru. Welcome to Give an Ovation, growth strategies for restaurants and retailers, where we find industry leaders to share their secrets to grow your business. This podcast is sponsored by Ovation, a customer experience and marketing platform that gets you more reviews, more feedback, and more revenue. Want to learn more? Visit ovationup.com. Welcome, everyone, to Give an Ovation. This is a special edition. We're going to do a series of post-COVID prep. And today, we have Derek Williamson on. He's the founder and CEO of HigherMe. Awesome company. Basically, the way I like to explain it is it's like if you want a better business, you got to get better employees. If you want to get better employees, you got to increase the funnel and make it easy to bring them on. HigherMe has a bunch of tools like text to hire and things like that, where it makes it easy to manage those applicants, get more applicants. How'd I do? Is that pretty good, Derek?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, we work with primarily restaurant focused, as you said. Work with about 10,000 locations across the country, and are really focused on hiring in the restaurant. And exactly like you said, elevating hiring to come to meet the standard that you want in your restaurant, right?
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on, Derek. So here we are. We're talking about what should restaurants be doing right now to prep for post-COVID. And I know that you've been in the multi-unit franchise space before HigherMe. What are some things that you're seeing right now? You got a pretty big data set of 10,000 locations. What are you seeing now? What should people be doing to prepare?
Yeah, great question. And I think, the thing that's topical right now that everyone is talking about is delivery, right? Either you already had delivery and you're trying to figure out how do we ramp this up as quickly as possible, or you didn't have delivery and frankly, you're probably scrambling to kind of put that together and kind of get a delivery service running. And so that's been the focus for a lot of operators. And the thing that is maybe lagging and where people have an opportunity to be proactive is starting to think exactly like you said, what does this post-COVID-19 space look like, right? Because we just had one of the biggest contractions of the labor market we've ever seen, right? Mm-hmm. We have millions of people who unfortunately lost their jobs, were either temporary or permanently laid off. But we know that the restaurant industry is going to bounce back, right? It is going to come back. And the thing that is coming, the thing that we are talking to our clients about is that tidal wave of demand that's going to spring back.
And competition to get them.
Exactly, right? It's going to be, we've been using the term like the greatest game of musical chairs that anyone has ever seen because, it's like, anyone that the unfortunate reality is a lot of people that have been laid off through this have left the industry, right? They've gone to work at Amazon or, maybe a competitor like a QSR chain that is hiring a lot, right? Like,
or they're doing delivery themselves, right? They've signed up as an independent driver to drive. And that gig economy is something that, a lot of people, they were competing, a pizza shop was competing with the other pizza shop or, the other restaurant. And now they're competing with different industries. It's going to be a more competitive market to get them on board.
Very much so. Yeah. And it's going to be a factor of speed and preparedness, I think, right? Because it's going to be everyone kind of vying for the same talent. Everyone is going to be looking for people that are really good, really flexible, right? Because we know, now you kind of are going to need to cross-train your staff a little bit more. You have more procedures to follow for sanitation, all these things. So you're going to have to hire some really, really good people, and everyone is going to be trying to hire those people. So we've been trying to get a lot of our clients in the mindset of start hiring almost now, right? Like start that process. You can, and we have some clients that are actually making contingent offers of employment, right? And saying, if as soon as this comes back, as soon as we can open the front of house, we want you to be part of the team. A lot of people have taken temp jobs, and so that works out really well, right? They can kind of be ready jump in as soon as things swing back. But I think there's a real opportunity there because the stress is going to be, when it does surge back, it's going to be quick, right? We know it's going to be, you're going to get a couple weeks notice kind of thing before you know that you can kind of open the front of house, have customers walking in. And, if your systems aren't really ready for that, for being able to hire really, really quickly, it's going to be really hard, right? Because there are places that are going to kind of suck up that talent really quick.
So something I'm kind of hearing between the lines here, something that is really important in terms of preparation is have those training materials ready. Make sure that you have your process, that you have your new training materials. If you're not doing that now, you're already behind, right? Like let's start that up. Let's get the figure out what is your new process going to be, because I think you're right. There is going to have to be higher levels of sanitation, and it's going to be interesting because there's going to be a flood of hiring, and I think there's going to be a trickle of customers. I don't think it's not like we're all sitting here quarantined and then like at the risk of dying of walking out of your front door, and then all of a sudden it's like, let's get jam packed into a McDonald's. Like I feel like there's still going to be a new element, a new social norm, new social distancing, where people like me who tend to get a little up close to people, I'm going to have to learn to take a step back, right?
Right.
And so, but I do think that it's important that I like that you brought that up. It's important that we start thinking ahead in terms of what that new world is going to look like with increased levels of sanitation, and preparing for that now, because we can't afford to do that in the middle of like a hiring spree.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's, training your staff on the procedures, on the communication too, right? Like, looking at the trends, there's probably a good chance that people are going to have to wear masks and, follow certain procedures, customers as well coming into restaurants. So training the staff on communicating those procedures to customers is going to be really important too, right? Like, what do you do if someone walks in and isn't wearing a mask or isn't, is putting other people at risk? What if they're not social distancing? And it's going to be a different new normal. And so I absolutely agree. I think, preparing for it now is critical. We saw many companies adapt very quickly through the shutdown and sort of put new procedures in place, put barriers in place, things like that. And it's going to be more of that, right? As you open up the front of house and have customers kind of meandering around.
It's like OCD is the new normal, right? And I think if we kind of go about it like that, maybe not necessarily like what about Bob crazy, but I think that there's a certain level that is going to be a new normal that we're all going to have to accept because we're all going to like want it. So with this like speed of the biggest game of musical chairs, how do you make sure that you get your chair out there? Like, you talked about the speed of that. What do you do to really make sure? I like you talked about of kind of starting now, but what do you do once things are starting to open back up and now you're competing with, the DoorDashes who just took your GM because, you had to let her go, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the real challenge, right? I think the one thing is you got to look for the green space, the areas where you can go that your talent competitors are not going. And the place that every restaurant, but every other business is going to be posting is on job boards, right? Everyone's going to post on Indeed, and there will be a flood there. And certainly you may find some great people there, but then it's looking at, well, how do I tap into my customer base and find some great potential talent there, right? How do I tap into some of those other local kind of marketing things that I can do to let people know that I'm hiring? And, one of the things that we do is the text to apply service. I know you guys love that. And we're all about the SMS text messages because, as you say, right, it's kind of the new way we communicate is over text message. And so one of the things that we have is text to apply. So, you're walking by the restaurant, you see a poster in the window that says, hey, we're hiring. Here's a contact-free way to apply too, right? It's no longer bringing the piece of paper into the restaurant.
Yeah.
it's texting and initiating that process from the cell phone, right? And so it's thinking about just those, though, right? And beyond those systems, it's reaching into your local community, right? And finding people that way, and through your existing employees, through referrals and things like that as well. Because ultimately, those job boards and other things are just going to get really crowded really quick.
Yeah, so, really inundated. So any other tips in terms of, looking at these hires, trying to figure out, there's a training aspect of it, anything else that people should be thinking about today to prep for post-COVID?
Yeah, good question. I think, one of the things that is going to change, we're looking at currently a lot of employers have switched to doing this more virtual hiring approach, right? Because you don't want to put other people at risk, put yourself at risk by having in-person interviews and things like that. And certainly we've seen that with the companies that are hiring right now. When they're hiring delivery drivers, it's a virtual interview. So getting familiar with those tools and what your new workflow might look like, that will definitely help you prepare. And then the other thing is, I think being prepared to train a little bit more on the job as well, because it is going to happen fairly quickly, and again, it's going to be pretty competitive for the talent that is still looking. We've already seen in the delivery space people hiring without an interview, right? They're saying like, we want you to, you submit an application, within an hour, someone's calling you on the phone and saying, we want you to start tomorrow, come in for training.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, exactly. And so, I think it's going to be more of that, because the thing that's going to be important is teaching people all these new procedures and letting them kind of learn on the job. And there's just not going to be the time to like do this old school hiring process of 1 or 2 interviews in person, et cetera, right? Where you have a week, 2 weeks kind of dragging out. So I think thinking about, especially the contact-free and the virtual hiring options that are out there, in a way that's accessible to young people who maybe haven't used Zoom or other technologies as well, right?
Yeah, totally. So what I got is, 1, get ready for the game of musical chairs. It's going to be a huge shuffle of people. 2, prepare, get that new training ready, prepare to shift that to on-the-job training. 3, start now. Start now to do all that stuff. If you could give contingent offers, temp offers to get people up and rolling, start that now. 4, stand out, get noticed, and don't get drowned out in these job boards. Build those relationships, look to your customers, look to texting, and other solutions that will enable them to, make it easier to apply. And then lastly, that virtual hiring, it's going to be more and more common. So make sure that you're ready for it. You got that in place. Derek, we will get through this, because we'll get through this together, man. I think these are some great tips. It will end. And we need to prepare now for when it will. So, Derek, how do people reach out to you, HigherMe? What do they do?
Yeah, thank you. So you can go online. The spelling of HigherMe is HIGHERME. So we don't have just the regular spelling of HigherMe. So
it's a higher version of you. It's a HigherMe. Yeah, I like that.
Exactly. Elevated hiring, right?
Yeah.
So you can go online on the website or reach out to me directly anytime. It's DEREK@HigherMe.com. Send me an email. Any questions too? I mean, like you said, right? We're all trying to get through this together. And so we are happy to just be a resource for people through this. And, we're helping people that are customers. We're also helping any businesses we're talking to, right? Any resources we can point them to, anything. And so, happy to just be helpful in any way we can. And we'll all get through this, like you said, right?
Awesome. Well, Derek, today's ovation goes to you and to HigherMe for being awesome people out there in the restaurant industry, helping out, lending a hand, elevating the hiring, which is a wave that's coming. So appreciate you coming on, man.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Zach.
Okay. Glad you were with us today, and thank you. Thank you to the risk takers, the troublemakers, the crazies who are keeping this world clothed and fed. You're the ones who deserve an ovation. Again, this podcast was sponsored by Ovation. To see how we can help you grow your business, go to ovationup.com. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, remember to give someone in your life an ovation today.